Alright guys, today we want to talk about the most common issue with the Toyota Prius, and it has the ABS, VSC and the brake lights on, and the customer brought the car to the shop to see what's going on with it. I'm assuming it's a ABS module and the pump actuator, because we had this issue a lot and we fixed a bunch of them, and assuming that's what it is, but I'm gonna scan it and make sure that's issue that we can address and get it fixed. I'm just doing this quick scan, and the way it sounds, I don't know if you can catch it or not, it's constantly the pump making noise, like a buzzing noise. That's showing me he has an internal leak. When it has an internal leak, the pump constantly boosting and just correcting the pressure, and that's why, you know, it's just constantly working and draining the battery. All right, we're gonna go to anti-lock. These are the codes that indicate the pump is bad. C1256. There's a couple other codes about the ignition misfire or something. We're not gonna worry about that right now because the check engine is not on. I think it's just the old. It says accumulator low pressure fault, abnormal leak of ACC pressure, C1391. I'm gonna take a picture from this code. Don't want to lose them, and then we're gonna go and change the ABS module. Alright, the first and most important thing is the safety. We need to disable both small auxiliary battery and the hybrid battery. It's located in a trunk, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Yeah, you see that orange fuse right here? This orange fuse is controlling the power goes through the hybrid battery, and you need to disable that. The way you do it, you need to pull this handle up and outward, and then take the fuse off. There's an orange fuse, take it off. You find this battery right there. You need to make sure remove the negative cable and disable that. Yeah, there is a cable right there behind this, and I'm gonna take this 10 millimeters to the body, take it out, and then alright, let me give you a roadmap of what we're gonna do. We want to take this cover. We want to take this unit, the inverter, that's what they call the inverter, the pump all the way in the back. We want to take the wipers off, flat plastic piece off, and make sure whenever you do that, buy brake fluid and a pink coolant for the inverter cooling system, because they should not use the green one or common colors coolants they sell outside in the parts store. Just make sure you buy the same coolant color. Alright, these are two 14 millimeter. One is right there underneath this cap. You need to remove this cap, make sure don't lose them. You're gonna take the wiper and the whole cover underneath it, and just to make sure it's cleared, the pump is right there. Make sure and remove it in the same way and put it back in the same way. Don't mix it up, you know, because they hit each other when you turn it on. If it doesn't come off, make sure to push this side right there, push it down, and it will pop up. Super easy. This one, same thing. Yeah, push it right there. Make sure. Okay. I'm gonna take this off completely, really hard. Sometimes they put some clamp right there, but it's missing. Clamps is missing, but make sure if there is a clamp, just remove it before putting pressure on it. You need to remove this connector and wire harness, and whole wire harness, and this fuse right there. From the front, it's a clamp type of things. You need some, use some. Alright, you're gonna take the whole wiper motor with the arms out. There's a 10 millimeter. Make sure memorize and put the bolts somewhere. You don't want to lose them. And all of them are 10 millimeter. That's a good thing about the Toyota. And you take this one out, and you need to take the whole thing out. This cover. You need to remove. 3, 4, 5. Just put this cover to the side, and that's revealed the actual pump right there. But in order to remove it, we need to remove the whole inverter. We cannot remove that. You want to work on the inverter area and just start working on it and remove the inverter. This generating a high voltage power for the battery. One bracket right there. I'm going to remove this bracket. Here's another bracket. This wires need to come off. Here's another bracket. I need to remove the sensor, the cable for airbag. There's two cable. One is here, one underneath it, and this big cable for high voltage. I'm gonna remove that as well, and this hose, and probably you're gonna get some leak, coolant leak, because of the reservoir. And there's a cable underneath it. I don't know if you can see it or not, right there. And that cable will need to come off. All of those connected internally. I need to take this cover off to be able to remove it. It's holding by 10mm screws all around, and and just we remove that, remove the cover, and we removed all the bolts inside, separate the cables, and then remove the whole inverter. Okay, let's start. There's another bolt here, 2 hex. This one. Alright, take the cover off. You need to make sure, force it a little bit to be able to lift it up. It may not come off easily. Yeah. And you see this inverter. Okay, now we're gonna take this 1, 2, 3 bolts out and take this cable off, and we're going to separate this brackets from this and separate this bracket. There's 3 bolts right there. You want to remove that, and there's a couple connectors. It goes to this cable. You want to remove this cable from this, attach to this, and just remove that as well. You want to take this cables off, this 2 cable, and just completely separate this and remove it. One of the best extensions that I've ever seen. See that this is from AutoZone. Small, but it's really useful. Some tight spots. You see this one right there, one is right there. Remove this 2 and just the cable will fall off. Yeah, there's two bolts. You'll be able to push this cable out, just disconnect this one. But for this, you need to remove this 2 10mm. Same thing with this one, 2 10mm. Drop the cable. All right, take the cable off. Yeah, this cable is out. Yeah, this cable is out. And I'm gonna drop this bottom cable out too. Just force it down. As you see, I remove these cables. There's 2, this one, and down here, this one. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna disconnect these connectors right there and take this cable off, completely separate it. There's 3 clips right there. That's it. Take this one off. You see this one? You need to push this wire back and let it go. It will come off. That's easy. And just make sure to put this in the side. This 12mm came off. Some of the things you can do to make your job easier. When you remove the nuts, put them back in the same place, because it's make your job way easier, much easier, because you don't need to chase. But the thing is about this car, most of the nuts and bolts are same size, but you need to make sure you find the same. Still, you need to be careful, because some of them are short, some of them are long. You don't want a long screw in a short place to damage this hole. This is something you need to make sure don't do it, because I've done it before. Orange connector, I'm gonna take it off. This connector goes into the inverter, and I need to disconnect this cable to make sure to take it off. Let me see. Something against this. Yeah, That's it. You need to push this. What we're gonna do, we need to remove some of the stuff and cable from the back of this. And there is a trick. Some of those connectors are super hard to remove. And normally what I do, I spray a little bit WD-40 or some lubrication and let it sit so I can push the connector back. Otherwise I may break them. And if you break them, they're not gonna stay in place. You're gonna get in trouble with that. There's two connectors, it's right there. Make sure you don't spray a lot, a little bit. Let it sit a couple minutes, then remove the connectors. Alright, as long as this is separated from the car, I'm gonna remove this hose. It's going to bleeding valve and take it off. Sure, just catch the cool. There's two hoses, one is here, one is here. Make sure to remove both of them. Just get them out of your way. And if it doesn't come off, just do this. Get a bigger plier. And if you can spray lubrication on top of it, that help a lot, because this help you not breaking and cutting the edge of the hose, because it's going to be a problem. Just get a bigger plier and just turn it like this. Crack this. That'll help you a lot. And then push it back. You see? Super simple. There's another one. Take this one off. Same thing. One of the best pliers that I've ever had. Put it around the, just turn it like this. Wiggle it a little bit, make sure it's loose, and push the cable back. Super simple. Alright, I'm gonna take this connectors out. Hope it's loose now. When you spray a little bit lubrication, make your job super easy. This one's out. And there is another one I need to remove. Yeah, as I said, these are so tight. Magic way. Yeah, that's it. This one's out too. And there is another one right there, giving you better lubrication. Your hand gets slippery, keeps slipping. It's sometimes tough. Make sure don't break it. 1, 2, 3. Ah, awesome. I use this pick. To push it against this clip and just lift it up. Yeah, there is another bracket right there, down there. I think that's 212, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's another bracket right there. Yeah, we can remove the bottom one, the 12 millimeter, the one down there, and 2 screw. You either remove this one or this one, the bottom screw, and just make it easier. I'm going to remove the bottom one, because when you put it back, make it much easier. Okay, remove this like this, and then ABS pump is right there. You see it? There's a couple of brackets. One is here, one is here, one against the wall, one is back there all the way here. And they're all 10 millimeter and 12 millimeter. I need to be able to remove all of them and take this auxiliary pump. There's a small pump or thermostat or something here. I need to remove that to be able to remove the pump. And one really important note, make sure when you remove the pump, losing these nuts, the brake lines, make sure don't damage them. Don't bend them, because if you bend them, when you put them back, they will leak 100%. You need to make sure leave the shape as it is. Unscrew it with your hand, unscrew the nut with your hand, remove it, and just gently push it out of your way. Remove the pump, put it back with your hand, thread it with your hand. If you see it goes in hard, don't push it, don't do it. You damage the thread and you're gonna get in trouble later. All right, I'm gonna go to the most important part, removing the pump, the actual pump. Just since the beginning up to now, we're just removing a whole lot of things to make our job easier, be able to access to the pump. And then right now we have the access. Make sure do it step by step, take your time, don't rush, you don't want to damage anything. Let's bracket off. Take this 10mm bracket off too. 12mm for this car because all of the bolts are same size. This hose need to come off. Okay, this is right there. I'm gonna just slide it back slowly and put the ply around it and just break this, not the hose. Yeah, let's crack the hose, make sure it's loose, and then take it off, because that way it's super easy when you do this way. And I'm gonna take this hose off too. The same thing, put this around it, crack the hose like this. Technique that I've been using for a couple of years and I'm really happy with it. There's a hose right there. Remove this hose that goes to the pump. You're gonna get a lot of brake fluid and coolant anyway, everywhere, because mess. Take this one off, do the same thing, crack this, push it back. See how easy it is. Okay, there is a couple screws right there. There is one screws, two screws all the way here. Need to take them off, separate this bracket from here. And there is screws right there, down there. You see it's behind this right there. It's attached to this pump. This bracket is holding this. You need to, there's 10mm, remove that one, and there is another 10mm down there. And then we get that 10mm right there. Just, you can catch it right there. 10mm, I think it's 12 or 10, I don't know. Need to remove that, that's holding the whole pump, the bracket. And there is another one right there. It's right there. And we need to remove that to be able to remove the whole bracket. Right, I catch it. That's right there. Just break it. That's it. It's one of them. There's another one. There's another one. You need to make sure, take your time, don't damage something. It's gonna be expensive for you to fix it sometimes. It's a tricky job. Take this first line out, the second line. As I said, these brake lines are designed to be like this. Don't try to change the shape of them, because you're gonna regret doing that. It's gonna be hard for you to put them back, and even if you put them back, they're not gonna stay for a long time. They start leaking and they give you a problem constantly, and it's hard to put them back. And sometimes I've seen people, they put Teflon or something around it. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work at all. It's getting slippery because of the brake fluid leaking all around. Yeah, this one, need to take this one out. Okay, this one's out. This one is out too. The last one. And there's another one on top of this, on top of the connector, behind the connector. Oh, okay. It's all out. You can push it all the way down, but don't force these cables, lines, don't change their shape. Make sure don't do it. Okay. We're gonna remove those nuts down there for the bracket and separate this bracket. This bracket is holding by 10. Take the bell, take the bolts somewhere. There's a lot of tools laying around. Okay. Yeah, I got it for this. Just catch this one too. Now, you see, it's kind of free. But still we have more to remove. It's not done yet. Remove this connector. Take a screwdriver, put it behind there, and gently move it back. Just put this one back. Force it all the way out, outside. Yeah. That's it. Important. It's holding this bracket. One is this, one is this. You need to make sure you remove it. See? Yeah. This is one is this, one is this. Gently, slowly. Make sure it's coming out my way. And you need to be patient. It's easy to frustrate with this job. Okay, slowly working through and know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're gonna damage it. Okay. This is that. Putting in this unit back, it's much easier than removing it. Whew. I got this from eBay. Remove this and just transfer it to the bracket that we got. If you buy it from eBay, make sure buy the good one. Don't go with the cheap one, because the cheap parts never work. We tried all of them. We tried cheap parts, always fail. A little bit expensive one, that should be fine, because you don't want to do this job twice. This job it's huge headache if you want to do it twice, and you're gonna get frustrated. I'm 100% sure. And this unit, it looks clean to me. We need to transfer this to this bracket. Couple things we need to pay attention. This upper bracket, you see, that need to be transferred. We never put this one back because it's useless to me. As long as this bracket is tied to the body, it works. I've I think 30 of these cars in past couple years. I've never put this one back. None of them came back for this reason. All of them work perfectly fine. I don't want to put it back. It's up to you. If you don't want to do that, that's your choice and your preference. Alright guys, I'm gonna put this on a bench to make sure I do it correctly. This is the new pump. I removed this from the old one. You need to make sure you transfer them correctly. There's two nuts and one there's one bolt and one nut. One it goes right here of the body, and the other one it goes here. These are for brake lines. Come and sit on top of them. Make sure you put them back, otherwise your brake line will move around and that probably cause leaking. Okay, that's the pump. Alright, I'm gonna remove, there's 1, 2 screws down there. I'm gonna remove them. There are 10 holding the pump. Remove that pump out of the way. Then transferring the new pump into place. Like this one. And there's another nut goes in that. Put it back. Everything is tight. All the brackets and everything. We're gonna go. Alright. Slowly and gently, make sure don't rush it, don't push it, just don't. Be patient. Be patient. I wish we could just put the bracket and then put this one, but we can't. Because we can't. Okay. Alright. Make sure there's two holes. Make sure you line them up with the studs on the body. And that's, after that, it's gonna be super easy to put it back. Where is that? Okay, one's get, other ones get too. Yeah. There we go. There we go. Now we need to make some adjustment. Awesome. Alright, as I said, for these lines we need to make sure put them one by one, hand tight, no rushing, and make sure put this stud back there before doing anything, because if you don't put that one back, there's a nut goes there. You need to tighten it to be able to push it back all the way, otherwise yeah, the stud coming out of the pump, in front of the pump, you need to make sure you put that one to tight and push these lines toward this way, and that way you can put these lines back. As I said, be patient. Couple threads with your hand before start using a wrench, because if it doesn't go smooth, there's something wrong, and you should not force this to go in with tools. This is good too. Alright, let's use tools now. See how far we can go. You're gonna, nope, this one doesn't go in. If it doesn't go in, just make sure wiggle the line, this line, and it should be lined up. Otherwise, you need to remove it. Yeah, this one doesn't go in. You need to remove it and make sure move that up and down to get it lined up, because you don't want to create problem. It may not lined up, and that's why it start leaking when you pump the brake, when you put everything back and you see it's leaking. I've done this a couple times, you know. I know the pain when you put everything back together and just see, oh my god, it's leaking. Removing the whole thing out, it's gonna be tough. You see how easy it is to put it with hand. You need to make sure it goes like this, couple thread at least halfway, and then go with the tools. Alright, same thing with this. You go with hand first of all. If your hand doesn't fit there, you need to make sure your tools goes smooth and not forcing it. This one it goes. Actually, I turned it with hand, couple thread, and then I'm going to tighten it with the tools. It's so important. This process is tricky. Okay, this one good too. Make sure to put it back in the same. There's a trick that I use to put the nut back without losing it and dropping it somewhere like this. It's gonna fall. Use a piece of paper, put it here, tight it, and it's not gonna fall. And make sure before tightening those lines, don't tighten the bracket, because you may need to wiggle it or move the whole body of the ABS before tightening it. Make sure you put that line back and then do it. Yep. That's it. We need to take those paper towels out. Millimeter is holding this bracket. Put it here, bolt, and this back in. Okay, put them. Okay. These are so important. Make sure you tighten them up because these are for brake line. Line the brake hose back, clamp back. Make sure whatever you start, and make sure you just finish it in the same way. Don't leave it because you may forget it. And now you're putting everything back. You realize, oh, I didn't do this or I didn't do this. It's gonna be hard for you to just reach. This is good. This is good. And I'm gonna put this hose back. Okay. This hose needs to go. I put the hose back, I put this couple bolts and nuts back. So, and then 3 bolts, assuming they're tall. Three in the back, and just 2. The important things about this: don't put the wiper motors, arms, and cover back, because you can start the car without that. You're gonna finish it, bleed the brakes, and watch those lines. Make sure they're not leaking internally or outside. You know, it's easy to just miss that. Alright guys, we did this job complete. As you guys saw, I did the bleeding, and before putting this back, because if you put this one back you can't see it. I don't know, I did up my job, the SD card ran out, couldn't record it, I don't know cached or not. I was struggling, one of the line was leaking and I corrected, and if this one was in the way, I have to remove it again to recorrect it, but I didn't need to. And I'm gonna put everything back now. The rest of the stuff is super easy, it just is all, you know what kind of screws that we removed, all 10mm short, 10mm short screws, the black ones. Make sure you don't tighten them before putting all the screws back, because you need to readjust this plate. You take, I think, 8 screws all around, and you need to make sure you put all of them back. After that, we're gonna put the wiper arms and the motors, and the rest are easy.
Now it's in. It's time to tighten them up one by one.
Super simple, and you know what kind of screws that goes in. The long black, these are the screws that goes into this. Not all the time, but sometimes required. Okay, let's get reconnected. We know the clamp are missing. I'm gonna put some clamps on it. Okay, 2 is enough. Each side, 1 for each side. Make sure you put it back in the same position. As always, you know, wipers left some signs where it goes as far as the wiper blade. You need to put it back in the same position, not moving it back and forth, because if you do that, it's gonna miss. This one same. Sometimes you need to close the hood just to put this one back. For me, it should be fine. I just press this side and put the bolts back, put the cover back, that's all. It doesn't bother you. Okay, put this one back. Another really important things about the coolant. The inverter require bleeding system, and the bleeding this inverter is require a scanner. You can do it without a scanner too. You need to turn on the key on position, turn it off, on, off, a couple times, at least 3 times. Take the air out. The electric pump has electric. When you send the power to the hybrid water pump, it's just start working and suck the fluid, take the air out, turn it off. Do it 3 times and make sure it's on a full level, and that's all you need to do. You don't need special tools or a scanner. If you have, you can use it. If not, this is a method that I'm using most of the time. It's super easy for me to do it that way. Okay, this is good. Okay, alright guys, thank you so much for watching this. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up, hit the like button, and subscribe to the channel for more video, and we will see you in next episode.